Naruto says Hinata, or the villagers, my bad. Hinata's villagers say Hinata, you're one of the sorry if you heard that. You're one of the best. What he says, you're so nice. Is there anything we could do for you? And the low clan members and the high clan members are like welcoming her home. And she says, no. And they see Naruto, and he says, Naruto says, Hinata says, Naruto, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go change. And Naruto said, okay. And basically, Naruto, or Hinata, she just welcomed everybody, and then she went back to the her compound, or her main, whatever you want to call it. She went back there, and basically she changed. Like, she changed. I'm gonna show you what she changed into. Yeah, she turned into this. Yeah, yes, sir. She put on Naruto clothes, and Naruto, he just walking out through the village, and he's like, he knocks on her door and he says, Hinata, what's taking you so long? And she said, nothing, Naruto, because I'm almost done. Naruto said, okay. Well, I'll be waiting. And she says, okay, Naruto, come. Basically, she come out of this. Naruto says, ooh, I'm gonna say he left. Oh no. She says, Naruto, I'm done. And Naruto says, huh? As he turns around, he's seeing her in this, and he says, I guess we rocking the same. He says, I guess we rocking the same clothes now, huh? And she says, yeah. She says, yeah, in a nervous voice, but she says, do you like it? Say Naruto, he liked the outfit like 10 times over. He says, I like it he says, I really do like that. And she says, you do? And he says, ooh, very much. And then he sees Hinata's stomach out, and her zongazong's out. And he says, hold on. He says, nah. He ain't gonna say nothing for now. Then he say, yeah, it's fine. Or he says, yeah, it's good. And then basically they go back. He takes Hinata. He takes Hinata to the park. Yeah. Actually, yeah. He's walking Hinata to the park. As he's walking Hinata to the park, we see Kiba run up to Hinata and say, Hinata, is that you? I hate when people do that, bro. But he says, Hinata, is that you? And she says, yes, do I know you? And Kiba says, you probably won't remember me, but I'm Kiba. And Naruto says, oh, hi, Kiba, as he steps in front of Hinata. And he says, and Naruto says, oh, Kiba says, demon brat, I wasn't talking to you. Now get on my way. And he says, and Hinata's, no, I'm saying Hinata. Hinata, she about to say something. And Naruto, he say, okay. He moves out the way. He already knows what's gonna happen. And then he said, he looks at Naruto. He don't notice Hinata close yet. And then, basically, Naruto say, or Hinata says, or no, Kiba say, Hinata, I want to. And then he looked down at them zongs. Y'all know what I'm talking about? He looked. Hold on. Here we go. And he says, he says to her, Hinata, Your gonga's on the reach. And if I haven't mentioned day 16, I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in the last video. And then Hinata says, she covers him up and says, she says, they're not for you to see. And he says, one more time, Hinata. Let me see him. And Hinata says, no. And he says, oh, why do you have to be so arrogant? And he says, why do you have to be so arrogant? Oh, yeah. He says, why do you have to be so arrogant, you stupid bitch? And she looked down. And Naruto, he ain't finna let that slide. He said, Kiba, I need you to apologize to Hinata. And he says, apologize for what? And then Naruto said for calling her what you just called her. And Naruto said, or Hinata, she just looking down. And Kiba says, fine. Sorry, Hinata. And Hinata says, you didn't say what you were sorry for. He just says you didn't say what you were sorry for. And he says, do I need to do all that? And Naruto looks at him with his fox eyes and says, let me go upstairs.
Yeah.
Sorry. So basically, Naruto, he say, and he look at him with his fox eyes, and he not to see this. And she says, Naruto, it's fine, let's just go. And he says, okay, Naruto. And Kiba walked up to Naruto and says, hey, finish talking to me, you demon brat. He about to hit Naruto. And Naruto, after he's about to hit Naruto, he flips over, actually no. Naruto, he practiced martial arts too. Basically, whatchamacallit, he tried to hit him, and then he grabbed his fist. He swiftly drive behind his back while he's still, and then he moved down to his arm, and now he's holding his arm behind his back. And keep like, yeah, you're gonna break it. You're gonna break my arm. Stop, you demon brat. And Naruto says, I've got sick of that name. You should start You should start appreciating me for not destroying the village already. And Kiba says, like you could destroy the village. After he says this, Kakashi popped down and says, Naruto, I need you to stop, and I have some people that you might want to meet. And Naruto said if they're not anyone important, then I don't want to meet them. And Kakashi says, no, I think they're very important. It's a kid that it's something that a kid should always have. And he says, okay. And he kicks Kiba and says, come on, Hinata. And Kakashi says, oh, this is only for you. You can't bring her. And Naruto says, I can bring whoever I want to. Kakashi says, oh, okay, problem child. And so basically Naruto, he popped through, when I'll be back. And basically he says, okay, come on. And they blitz through. They started walking up to the Hokage mission. And Naruto, he says, so who are these special people I'm going to meet? After he says, who are these special people I'm going to meet? Sorry. Not Kakashi says, don't worry, you'll find out. I'm pretty sure you'll like them too. And Naruto said, okay. And he goes up to, they knock on the door. And basically, Minato says, come in. And Naruto says, that voice sounds familiar. And he says, Kakashi, wait. Me and Hinata are going in here alone. And Naruto and not Zabuza. They at the village, but Naruto said me and Hinata are going in here alone. And he said, come on, Hinata. Basically, Hinata and Naruto, they started walking, or they opened the door, and Naruto seen someone who looked just like him, and he started getting flashbacks of how Minato left him, and Kushina. So basically, what happened was Naruto said, Kushina. Or Naruto said, who are you? And why you look so much like me? Not Kushina. Kushina is dead though, but she's in the restroom. He said, why do you look so much like me? And Minato said, that's because I'm your dad. And he says, not gonna give your pops a hug. And Naruto says, you want me to give you a hug. You want me to give you a hug after you left me, after you abandoned me, after you sat there and betrayed me, your own son. For what? Because you still the beast inside me? And Minato, he says, son, that's not the reason that we left. It's because, and Naruto says, I don't want to hear your crap. I know why you left. And Naruto, what's his name? I forgot it. Minato says, you know why we left? And Naruto says, yeah, because I was a Nine-Tails. I was the brat of the village, huh? The center of attention, the center of beating. And he says, Kushina beat him too. And he says, where's that filthy woman that beat me? Huh? And Hinata says, Naruto, maybe we should go. And Naruto says, nah, we're not going anywhere. And this is the first time that Naruto said no to Hinata. And she says, oh, okay. And she says, but Naruto, maybe. And he says, nah, Hinata. As he turns around. Actually, yeah, he says, nah, Hinata. Well, he turns around and says, nah, Hinata. And then he says, I need to handle some business. I don't want you to see this. And he says, you can step out. And she says, okay, Naruto. And basically, Naruto, he says, where's that woman, huh? The red-haired death. Or the red-haired beating woman. That's what I call her. And Kushina walks out the restroom. And she says, Naruto, that's you? And he looks at her. He looks at her with, he just looks at her. And she looks at him. And she runs towards him and hugs him. Naruto doesn't hug back though. He says, get off me. And Kushina said, what? but you haven't seen us in forever. And Naruto said, I said, get off me. Not one to say that as Hinata. I didn't know. Kushina, she says, and she backed up off of Naruto, and she says, Naruto, we're your parents. Are you okay? And he says, you don't have the right to ask that. Only one person. And Minato says, who's the one person? And Naruto says, you don't need to know that. All you need to know is that you are horrible parents. And he points at Kushina. He says, you beat me senseless every day. Even after the villagers beat me, I had to come on to even worse one. And he points at, and he says, he's still looking at Kushina, but he looks at Minato too, like above his eyes, or one of his eyes. And he says, you left me in the basement to starve. How could you ever call yourselves parents of mine? At least I didn't grow to be a beast like you. And he says, when I have a kid, don't think you'll be seeing him. And Kushina says, Naruto, wait! And Naruto, he walks out the room. And basically, Naruto says, Naruto, are you okay? And he says, I'm okay. He says, I'm okay, Hina. And she says, you don't have to lie, Naruto. As she hugs him. And he says, thanks, Hinata. And he starts crying. And he says, just how could they show up here? I wanted to kill him so bad. So bad, Hinata. And she says, Naruto, it's okay. And basically, Kachi like, dang, these two really are close. And Kushina walks outside trying to find Naruto. And she sees Naruto crying into Hinata's chest. And Naruto says, do you know how much I wanted to tell them that I wanted to kill them and slice off their necks? As he starts getting up, and she says, Naruto, you need to calm down. And she kisses him. Yeah, she kisses him. And after she kisses him, Naruto says, he licks his lips and Hinata blushes. And she says, why do you always do that? And he says, And basically he kissed Hinata. And he picked her up and put her up against the wall. And basically, after he put her up against the wall, he said, basically after he put her up against the wall, he said, I'm so lucky for having you, Hinata. And he started kissing her. He forget that he at the Hokage hallway. He started kissing her, and he started taking off his shirt. And she says, Naruto, there are people watching us. And he says, And she says, there's like 3 people staring at you, Naruto. And Naruto says, oh, I forgot. We're in the Hokage hallway. And he says, he puts his shirt back on, and he says, sorry, everyone. And like he screams this, he says, sorry, everyone, that I almost tried to have sex here with my girlfriend. And Naruto, she gets like super red. She gets like super red. Like God. And basically Hinata, or She like super red. And Naruto says, "Thank you, everyone." And everybody's like, "We know what y'all's about." One person whispers, "You didn't need to say that." And Naruto, his eyes get like shocked, and he says, sorry." As he throws a shadow bomb, cause he like super nervous, but he still feel people's eyes watching him. And he picks up Hinata, and she says, "Ooh," like she's scared. And he says, "Don't worry, Hinata, it's just me." And and after he says, "Don't worry, Hinata, it's just me," Naruto, or not Naruto, Hinata says, "Oh, okay, Naruto." And basically Naruto, he says, so they get to the compound, and he says, "Sorry, Hinata, about that." And she says, "No, Naruto, it's fine." And Naruto says, "Just wait till we're 18. And she says, "What for?" He says, she says, "You keep saying that." And he says, "No, there want to be 2 surprises. You just wait." And basically Naruto says, "Well, it looks like I'm off to school." And she says, "Wait, so you have to go to school this whole time?" And Naruto says, "Yeah, but I want to spend the day with you." Hinata says, "Naruto." She gets down and she looks at Naruto and she says, "Naruto, you need to be more focused on school." And she says, "Next time you miss school, you're gonna get hit by this lion, by my lion paw." And Naruto says, "Okay, Hinata." He says, and then he walks off. He's like that can hurt me. And she says, "What did you say?" And then Naruto says, nothing. And Naruto, he gets to the school, and when he gets to the school, we see like 40 girls come up to Naruto and say, "Oh my," this gonna sound gay, bro. Hey, this no homo? No homo for real. All the girls walk up to Naruto. "Oh my god, Naruto, no homo." They say, "Are you single?" And Naruto says, "Yeah." He says, "Sorry, girls, I'm taking." All the girls the girls say, "Well, she can share, right?" And Naruto says, "No, you must have meant he." And the girl says, "You're gay?" And Naruto says, "Yeah, I am, but he really not." And they're like, "Ew." They say, "Ew, what a moral. Don't ever come near me again." And Naruto says, "I was just joking." And all the girls run back up to him, and he says, "Yeah, I don't want you. I don't want either one of you. I already have a girl waiting on me at home that does everything I need for me. She feeds me, she cleans for me, she cooks for me. And do you girls want to know who she is?" And all the girls like, "Yeah, I wanna beat her up." And he says, "Okay, I'm dating what's it called? The Hyuga. He says, I'm dating the Hyuga tribes. The Hyuga clan's leader. Hinata. And everybody like, oh, you're dating her? And Naruto says, yeah, she's a pretty good girl. She does a lot for me at home. But when we turn 18, and he says, I'm talking too much. And he just walks off. And the girl say, can I at least get your number? And Naruto says, yeah, and he gives him a random number. And they say, okay, I'll call you after school. And Naruto says, okay. And basically, Naruto gets to class, and basically, the teacher says, Naruto, you're at your fourth block. Why didn't you come to your first three? And Naruto says, sorry, I was held up doing some stuff with my girl, and and with the Hokage, and I'd be like, he was talking to the Hokage? What? And he says, yeah, that's about it. And when I say, okay, Naruto walks in there and he said, or a random person walks in there and says, we have a new teacher. His name is Minato. He says his name is Minato. He says his name is Uzumaki. And everybody like, Uzumaki. Oh, no. Yeah, Uzumaki Minato. Or Minato Namikaze Uzumaki. But Namikaze, he's just a true Namikaze. And he's part Senju. And Naruto, and one of the people says, Naruto, he has the same last name as you. Are you two related? And Naruto says, if we were, he says, no, I don't know that man. And basically, all the people have suspicion that the fourth is Naruto, the fourth son. And everybody says, oh, okay. And basically Naruto, he goes to the to sit down. And when he goes to sit down, basically everybody's staring at him until he says, oh yeah, I also forgot, Minato / Hokage will be leading this class, and yeah, he says he'll be leading this class and the gym class. And Naruto sighs and says 2 classes with that moron. And basically, everybody says the fourth Hokage is not a moron. And he says, well, if you don't, he says, well, if you knew. And then he said he shuts up because he don't want them to know that he don't want them to know that that's his dad. And we see 10 minutes later, Minato walks in and says, hi class, how's everyone doing today? And he sees Naruto up in the back top right. And basically he says, Naruto, why did you come sit down here? Like the old times that we did when we were kids. And Naruto laughs and says, there were no old times. Don't try to play a slick, old man. And he says, but just for your sake, I'll try to get along with you. As everybody's like, back when they were little. And one of the student said Kiba. I'm gonna say nah. Shikimaru. Oh nah, he could be asleep. He says, Choji says, Ino says, Fourth Hokage, is that your son? And Naruto looks at Minato, and Minato says, yeah, that is. And Naruto says, he says, if I were just, actually Naruto says, one father to me, as he whispers, or he mumbles. And Minato says, did you say something, Naruto? And Naruto says, nah, none of your business. And everybody's like, why are you being so mean to your dad, bro? And he says, well, if you knew him like I did, you would understand. Everybody say, what do you mean knew him like you did? And he says, nothing. It really doesn't matter. So Naruto, he skips. He goes to his 4th block, then his 5th block, then his 6th, then his 7th. After he go to his 7th, he eat lunch. Then he goes to his 8th block. Actually, no. He goes to his 6th block, eat lunch. After he goes to his 6th block, he eats lunch at the 6th block. Then he goes to his 7th. Now it's gym class. Now it's gym time. And basically, Naruto is thinking about how he go get home to Hinata with some food on the table. And he's like, oh, I can't wait till I get home. And basically, he says, Hinata, I know you have something cooking. You always do. Basically, one of the people say, yeah, did you hear that Naruto's brat was dating the what's her name? The Hyuga leader, Hinata? And he says, yeah, I bet he's keeping her under her will and not allowing her to do anything. Why do you think she's all locked up in the house 24/7 and she never comes to school? And Naruto, he's about to say, actually, Naruto, he just says, man, only if they knew. And basically, Naruto, he goes to, Naruto basically goes to, he basically just goes to, gym class, and I'm gonna say they do some suicides. They did 10 1,000s. Well, they did 10 10,000s. Actually, no. They did 15 1,000s. Yeah. They did 15 1,000s. So basically, after they did their 15 1,000, they did 300 jump squats. And Naruto, everybody, they can't take the workout. But Naruto, he just eat it. He's just like, this is nothing. And he says, Naruto says, since you all want to be weaklings, drop down on your faces and give me 200. And Naruto says, that's a breeze. And you know how Goku do that over 1 trillion sit-ups? That's basically what Naruto does. He did, but he don't go as fast as Goku does. He just does them. He just thinking, like class. Naruto been dismissed. Like Naruto, he's in his own mind, just saying, I can't wait till I get home to Hinata. He's thinking about that food, and he did over 3,000 one hand push-ups right now. He's like, man, and his arms, it finally starts hurting. He says, man, my arm is finally started hurting after a couple thousand push-ups, huh? He gets up, and he see 3 coaches standing over him. Minato, Kakashi, and what's that boy name? The dude Smoke. Actually, nah, cause he dead. Actually, nah. He see Naruto. Naruto sees Minato, Kakashi, and hold on. I said he